Hello and welcome to all of you who are interested in astrology. Here is another video with me, Veerle, and I'm going to talk about the lunar eclipse that will be going on around the 21st of January. So it depends where you live, but around the 21st of January there will be a lunar eclipse at 0 degrees of Leo. So I'm going to talk about what this means very shortly on a collective level and then break it down to the different signs, what it means for all of you. So let's break it down, because I've made a video and I'll put a link below about the eclipses and the Saros family. If all of this is saying to you, what the hell is she talking about? Maybe you can find out through those videos and get a bit more knowledge of that. But this is an eclipse that belongs to the Saros family to south, and that has a meaning. And I'm going to I'm looking here at the book of Bernadette Brady, and it's called, I don't know how to translate it, but if you're really interested, just put a comment below and I'll translate it, and so you can find it if you're interested in it. Now, so this says something about the flavor very much on a collective level. So what does it mean? This eclipse has to do with unusual groups and your commitment towards that, and it can indicate a period where you can feel the desire to belong to a certain group, where you can heal, or where you can experience love for humanity and art. So it's a pretty how would I say, it's a pretty collective kind of eclipse in general, with a pretty beautiful message, I suspect. It's certainly not the worst eclipse of all, because sometimes an eclipse can belong to a certain eclipse family that is quite heavy in energy. So the only thing that this is saying for us in general, it is about, belonging and humanitarian kind of feelings, so to speak. Okay, so far so good. What else is this? Let's have a look at, I'm trying to give you a bit of an explanation through this whiteboard here. It is a lunar eclipse at 0 degrees of Leo, which means that the moon will be at 0 degrees of Leo and the sun will be at 0 degrees of Aquarius, an opposition. It is therefore a lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse is always about things that come to fruition, things that come to a certain climax. It's things that come through consciousness, so to speak. And because we have the eclipse happening now with the North Node, because here we have actually the North Node going on, it's at the now it gets complicated, because people tell me, hey, I don't understand, this is an eclipse in Leo and the North Node is already at the very end of Cancer. What is this? Well, this is exactly, the North Node is around about 26, 27 degrees of Cancer, which is the very end of Cancer, and after Cancer there's Leo. So therefore it is called a total eclipse, because the nodes are so close to the planets of the sun and the moon. So am I explaining it right? I hope I do. But anyway, far more important, we know a bit what this is all about. What does it mean? What does it mean, a lunar eclipse in Leo? Well, mostly, I have to say, lunar eclipses in Leo have a bit of an enjoyable, joyful effect. It depends on what the other planets are doing. But normally, it's not the worst, like a full moon. A full moon in Leo is always when people are, of course, when everything else is going okay. Not for everyone, but for most people, things are in a pleasant way. It's enjoyable. It's energy of the heart. It's about warmth and all of that. But now, what are other planets doing, so that we understand what kind of a flavor this energy is? So we know that if it has to do in our life with belonging to a certain group, to a certain like-minded, which is Aquarius, a certain group of people, that fits in quite well with the sun in Aquarius. And also with the moon in Leo, it's like finding your own uniqueness and putting that into the mixture of the group of all sorts of people, but they are equal. They're not all alike. Everyone has its individuality, but you know, there is a common goal there. That is Aquarius. And on the other hand, we know that the moon in Leo is about joy, enjoyment, having pleasure in life. It's fire. What else is going on that is extremely important? This full moon is squaring up to Uranus. And this gives the flavor of sudden events. Of course, when we are in eclipse time, it's for certain people, especially for the people who have planets here around about the very end of Cancer, the very beginning of Leo, or the very end of Capricorn, and the very beginning of Aquarius, but also the very end of Aries and the very beginning of Taurus, the very end of Libra, and the very beginning of Scorpio. Those people will feel this eclipse the most, okay? Now, what about this Uranus thing here? This adds to the flavor of things suddenly happen out of the blue, and they suddenly make big changes. So it's actually with Uranus very difficult to predict. But what it does say is that changes are coming here, and rapidly. That's Uranus. You don't get all of the time like with Pluto. Pluto breaks it down till zero, so to speak, and then it builds it up again. With Uranus, it's in a flash. And there's a good side of that, and there's a not so good side. The good side of that is that you immediately know what's happening, and you have to react quite fast. The downside is that it's all good and well if what is happening, that you like it, but what if you don't like it? Then it's quite shocking. But again, that's not to make you afraid or anything. That's just the flavor, how it is. So expect a bit the unexpected around those days. And it could be a very enjoyable one, you know, for someone who is like Leo or Aquarius. Could be sudden, all of a sudden, people who are single, for instance, they fall in love, and it's Uranus, it's exciting, and it's all of a sudden, you see what I mean? But sometimes it can force us also into situations that we are forced to be detached. And I think that also some people, hopefully not too many, but some people who've been running away from responsibilities, who've been running away from signs over and over again, all of a sudden they get detached, but unwillingly. And that's, of course, hopefully a small percentage, and mostly it will be a small percentage, but it's not something that you look forward to. So, but again, it's very difficult to predict that, and you can only stay grounded. So one of the things that I recommend with this atmosphere is enjoy the unexpected things. Try to accept it as fast as you can, because that's going to help you to react better in a Uranian way. And stay grounded, the feet on the ground. And if it's chaos, it is chaos. You're going to be fine, but stay with the feet on the ground. Why am I saying you're going to be fine? Because although this is a bit restless energy, and this is very the unknown energy, there is other good things going on at the same time. And what is it? The other things that are going on at the same time is that Venus conjunct Jupiter at that very time, and it also is trining Mars, and this is very, very good. This is good energy. It means that certainly on a love level there are good vibes. There is some sort of a balance between giving and taking. So on a relationship level it's not that bad at all. I mean in general here, because there is a tendency of giving and taking at the same time, and feeling that people understand you and that you understand others. So that's a good thing. Another thing is that Venus is squaring up to Neptune as well. So I know that a square is a bit of tension there, but Venus here squaring Neptune, the only thing you have to look out for is that you're not getting overly compassionate, you know, that there are no boundaries in love anymore. So you have to watch out for that. But this Venus in a square to Neptune, I'm not really concerned about this. Why? Because Neptune at the same time sextiles Saturn. So in a nutshell, if this is Latin for you, what it means is that yes, Relationships are going fine. Sometimes you can idealize them even, and you can say, this is romantic, this is fantastic. But at the same time, the Saturn that grounds us. So this is in a nutshell the energy that is going on, which is not bad at all in general. It's not a tremendously drastic negative eclipse, not at all. But there is some surprise aspect to us and for everyone. And that is something that we all will have to deal with. So let's break it down now to the different signs. I'm going to do that quite quickly. Keep in mind the message that I just said, because that's for everyone. And now what's happening for some people, it's going to be more important than others. For Aries, this is happening in the jolly houses, because this is happening in your 5th house, this full moon, and the sun will be in the 11th. So this is really applicable, the group situation that I just talked about. Maybe if you are single, there is someone really in your midst that you're falling in love deeply. But remember what I said, it can really open up your mind, because Venus and Jupiter is in your 9th house and it trines Mars in your 1st house. So you're really into some action, you Aries people, and you like that. So you have the feeling that there is momentum there, and that is what Aries is all about. So it does square up to the cusp of the 1st and the 2nd house. So the surprises could come from maybe on a financial level, to be aware that you're not over spending, for instance, or maybe on a level that you could do things that are quite impulsive. But again, with that Saturn there, I don't think it will be a big deal or something to consider that is worrying, not at all. So for Aries people, mostly it has to do with something that comes to the surface, that has to do with how you enjoy yourself, children, projects, something comes to fruition. So it's a pretty good eclipse for you Aries people, and enjoy that. Do something fun, do something with your friends, or going out, or going for a restaurant, or whatever, but a chic one. It's the moon in Leo, so it wants a bit of drama, and it wants a bit of king size restaurants or whatever. Anyway, Taurus, especially if you have planets around 0 to 5 degrees of Taurus, you're someone who's really feeling this energy quite a lot, and it's happening in key areas of your life. It's happening in your 4th house of home and security and stability. So for you Taurus people, it could have to do with something about home, family, emotional stability that is in a contradiction. Work, the classic work-life balance. There could be some things that are out of the blue coming up for you, and that you're saying, this is enough, I need to have more balance here in life. That's not necessarily a bad thing. But there could be some money coming your way with Venus Jupiter there in your 8th house, or some positivity considering inheritances, loans, taxes, all of that could be going on for you. And maybe even someone behind the scenes that's doing good for you that you're not even aware of. Okay, so keep in mind, you Taurians, to create your own emotional stability. That's most important for you. Geminis, this is happening in the not so important houses, but still it's in your 3rd house, which is a bit of a Gemini house, and it opposes the 9th house. So this is all about maybe you're just on a way of your intellect and the way that you think, something becomes very clear. So that might be a friend, for instance, or in a dream that you realize, I have to think differently. So for Geminis, it's about your thinking, about the way that you think. There's something about to change there, and that becomes very clear. Or in the life of a sibling, that there all of a sudden is a change there. Or when you're working a lot with PR, communication, websites and all of that, this could be really something. Let's say, for instance, you're putting a video on YouTube, or you're doing a blog and it's getting a lot of success. Uranus, all of a sudden people find you there. And there's very good energy for you happening with Venus, Jupiter in your 7th house, trining your 11th house. So on people, there are some people who really want the best for you, and keep that in mind. Be open for that. And this is really, it's rather a positive eclipse for you. Again, fire, the moon in Leo is a fire sign. That goes well with air. Then Cancer. Cancer is the ones who have planets at the and what I just said, I forgot to say about Aries there. Sorry, I just want to say so much in such a little space of time. But Aries, the very end, if you have like planets at the 29 degree of Aries, 29th degree of Aries, it's more important for you. You know, that enjoyment that I just said. Cancerians, they will feel it the most when they have planets at the very end of Cancer, 28, 29 degrees. But this more has to do with worth. My worth versus your worth. There's something about differences in worth, you know, especially when you live with someone, a spouse, a girlfriend, a boyfriend. There is a focus on your confidence, on how you earn your own money, how you have your dealing with your own resources. And that could come from not only work, but also earnings through work if you work for yourself. So there could be a change, but not necessarily a bad one. It depends on your situation, of course, but it could be a change when it comes to how you earn your money, how you deal with your financial problems, if you have them. If you're saying, no, I'm financially okay now, it could mean simply that there is a change of your value system, and it does clash with maybe someone else, but that's okay. It's just, it's not about I'm going here into a power struggle and trying to force other people to force my values upon them. That's not gonna work, or the other way around. It's keeping your own value, you Cancerians, and there is something good happening with your work as well, and with your day-to-day routines that you're doing. You're more enjoying it than normal with Venus, Jupiter there in the 6th house. Leo, again, especially, of course, Leo, all spotlights are on you. So especially when you have the moon, when you have Leo planets around 0 degrees, 0, 1, 2, 3, whew, this is a big one for you. It's not only a full moon, it's also an eclipse. So definitely, people who have a Leo rising, people who have a Leo moon, people who have a sun in Leo, or maybe some couple of other personal planets, they will feel this eclipse. There is a change to come, and it can happen suddenly, because Uranus is involved here. Suddenly another way of thinking, suddenly a change in your work, and that prompts you into changing yourself. So this is a lot about yourself. So health things could come up here, but for the good, so that you say, okay, I have to work on that. Or just things that has to do with your own needs, because the moon is in your sign, which means it's like, well, what do I need in this life? And versus what does another person in my, if you are in a relationship, what does another person need as well? So it's balancing that out, but it's a bit of a wake-up call for the Leos. On the other hand, on a romantic level, on a love level, things are going fine. So it's not that you know, those beginning degrees of Leos. Lately, a lot of Leos have suffered actually last year when there was the Mars retrograde going on and all. But I think this is from a different flavor. This has to do with, look, that's what I want for on a heart level. Venus, Jupiter in your 5th house is fantastic, and it's fantastic to travel. It's fantastic for your connection with children, thinking about children, making children, having fun and all of that. But it's very important for you that you take care about yourself, your body, literally, and what you really, really need in life. So that's a bit of a wake-up call. Don't neglect what you really, really need, you Leos. The Virgos, this is happening in a part of your chart that's very, very hidden. So maybe for the Virgos, just will be a dream, a very strange dream. But that gives you some clues and that gives you some answers to some questions that you're having, because this is happening in your 12th house, this full moon. In your 8th house, Ninth house is also triggered, which is also an occult metaphysical house. So you could be getting some messages from the universe, so to speak, of some solutions. So put a notebook beside your bed, you dear Virgos. And there could also something come very clear that has to do with the way that you relax. Maybe you've not been relaxing enough, and now things are becoming clear. I need to change my day-to-day routines, which is the 6th house, in order for me to be a bit more relaxing. And you've got Venus, Jupiter in your 4th house. So a lot of Virgos will feel that at home they can relax just by making your home a little bit more enjoyable, you know, putting some nice candles on or whatever it is. So it's, again, for Virgos, it's not the most important kind of eclipse, but it can be a bit of a wake-up call considering the way that you relax. Then Librans, this is for you, not the worst eclipse. This is happening in your 11th house. This is a fire sign, goes well with you, which is air. So there could be something that comes very clear towards friendships, towards goals. Maybe something that becomes clear that always has been a goal for you, that you're saying, nah, I don't want this goal anymore, or this goal is accomplished. And there is like, that could be a partner that is forcing you a little bit to see that, or also more on a deep psychological level. So, but on a social level, things are going fine for you. You have more opportunity than ever with Venus, Jupiter in your 3rd house to connect with other people, whether it is online, whether it is with people that, your friends, colleagues, your peers, all of that, because you have a lot of activity in the social houses, and most Librans are very social. So not a bad eclipse, but things can become all of a sudden very clear for you when it comes to your friendships and your goals. Scorpios, again for you, the ones who have 0 degrees, 1 degree, 2 degrees of Scorpio, those planets there, very significant. This is all happening in the 10th house of career, of work, of your relationship with authorities. So there could be maybe one parent, a mum. There is discussion about what is mom, what is dad in the horoscope. But anyway, a parent, there could be happening some changes there. Or for most of you, there could be happening some changes at work. All of a sudden, that are a bit forced by either a partner or either your day-to-day routines that need drastic change. And so for some Scorpios, who really want to change their job, it's a good energy. And actually, Venus and Jupiter in your 2nd house shows that financially you're getting actually good energy there, even better, and improving. So I think a lot of Scorpios who were thinking about changing a job, or they're gonna do that, and they will see that it's better for them on a financial level. For those of you who feel stuck, maybe at work and they're not really liking it, but they don't know a way to find a way out, there might be a way out now very unexpectedly. Okay. Then for Sagittarians, this is happening. This is for Sagittarians, this is a fellow fire sign. So that's why this lunar eclipse is quite happy for you in general, because this is happening in your 9th house. Some of you might go for travel far away or studying, and something becomes very clear. So maybe you are doing higher studies. I think here in Belgium now, that will be the timing of people who go to university, college, they get their results. So a lot of you will see now, maybe a bit unexpectedly, maybe you expected that it was not going so good. And now all of a sudden you've got good grades, or the other way around. You know, it all depends, but it is a bit of a surprising energy over there when you're studying, but you have Venus, Jupiter in your sign, so you'll be well. You will be feeling confident no matter what, and enjoy yourself as well, because there's Mars in the 5th house. So for a lot of Sagittarians, this is about your vision And you are visionaries for sure already, I mean. But there could be, yeah, I have this new vision now, this is what I'm gonna do, and off you go. Some things become very clear for you, and that's very, very nice for you Sagittarians. All in all, a very good energy for you with Venus, Jupiter in your sign. Trining Mars. Wow, when you are a single Saggy, fantastic to fall in love, and very fiery, passionate love, and very enjoyable energy here. So for the ones who already have a relationship, go out with your loved one, do some fun stuff, and you feel great. Capricorns, this is for the Capricorns who have planets around the very end of Capricorn, like 27, 28, 29 degrees of Capricorn, you'll feel this eclipse very much. This is happening in your 8th house, and that's a very hidden house. It's a metaphysical house, a psychological house. So there could be some some crisis going on, or some crisis happens. So something that is out of the blue, but actually that has to do with family, or that has to do with your own projects, children. So there could be a little bit of a thing that is unexpectedly happening, but all in all, it can give you a lot of, very strangely enough, a lot of emotional stability. It's like you feel that things are the way they have to be. And that's good for a Capricorn, because Capricorn loves to have the stability. So it has to do with things that you cannot really control, and that's something that Capricorns don't like. But again, emotionally, you are with the feet on the ground, so keep that in mind. Do what you need to do, what you have to do, and then let go of what you have no control over, because you can't just do everything, dear Capricorns. You can't control the whole world. And the more you do that, the easier you will get through the change and the transformation, because this means transformation, and that's not always bad, not at all. Then Aquarius, of course, if you have planets around 0, 1 Aquarius, this is very important for you. This is on a relationship level, so the moon is in your opposite, so there's definitely someone there catching your eye, whether you're single or whether you are in a relationship. There could be something happening in the life of a partner that is quite all of a sudden. Maybe that has to do with siblings, that has to do with his or her siblings or his or her family. But whatever it is, there is a change in how you versus them, you versus the other person, how you relate to very people who are very close to you. I think on a social level it's quite okay, because you've got Venus, Jupiter in the 11th, which means that things are opening up for you, Aquarians. Friendships for sure, and feeling that people have the same goal. That's all good and well, but it could be that there is some things that are happening on an emotional level, especially when you are in a relationship, that you need to say, okay, these are their needs, and I have to consider that and in some way balance it out with my needs. When you are single, there could be someone that you maybe have met on the internet, or have met around your home. Maybe you have given a home party and you've met someone, could be the case as well. Last but not least, Pisces, this is happening in your 6th house. There could be some revelation coming up on the way of health, work. So there could be some things that become very, very clear all of a sudden. Maybe because there is a financial change, maybe there is a change in communication or in how you think about certain things. But anyway, there is a possibility of seeing really now that there is a change when it comes to your health or when it comes to your work. So for the Pisces who really do want another work or another job, it's on. You've got Venus, Jupiter in your 10th house, which is the most charming aspect you can have, to do something public, to be seen, to be shown, to be there as a teacher, to be there as making promotion, or applying for a new job. Fantastic time. And it could be it could be the fact that you're really getting that new job there. Anyway, having said that, or again for the Pisceans, health things that really come to fruition now, and that gives you a bit of ease now that you know where you're standing. For those of you who have been dealing with a bit of a struggle when it comes to the health, not knowing where it's going, you will know where it's going. Having said that, I've reached the 30 minutes almost. That was my aim. Thank you so much for watching. I wish you all the best. Like, subscribe, do whatever you can if you like these videos, and see you next time. Bye bye.